Yes. All right. Today's Tuesday, November 21st, Dog Park Committee meeting. We definitely have a quorum today. So we will call to order the meeting, and first we'll adopt the agenda. Make a motion to adopt the agenda for today.
The motion.
Okay, all there?
Yep.
Aye. Approval of meeting minutes from last month. I don't see any issues. Does anybody have any issues with meeting minutes from last month? I'm looking at you because I'm so used to seeing you here.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Second.
Second.
All right. All in favor on that?
Aye.
Good. All right, so yeah, we're gonna skip over the chemicals for now. We're gonna move to item number 4 on the agenda, which is dog park workshop post review. And this is just kind of a general feedback on, I'm not sure if you were at it for the small dog park. I was at the large dog one, and we just kind of want to go over and see what was feedback were, if you heard from people that were there and what they thought of it. I know Sue, you were there, everybody was there, so we can kind of just go over together what you all thought about it, and if it worked, if it didn't, go ahead.
Feedback I got, the big park was good.
Yeah,
It was very good.
I agree.
You know, the good feedback is the big park was good because people are handling the bigger dogs a little bit better than the ones with the small dogs, unfortunately.
For sure.
Because, you know, little dogs get away with murder. You just pick them up and
Yeah.
say no,
Yeah,
right?
we all know this.
But there was some very serious confrontations in the little park.
Okay,
So right there, as trainers, we saw, wow,
good.
you know, the big dog people are at least listening
Mhm.
and being a little more diligent on watching their dog's body language. The little dog park, it took a lot of those owners by surprise.
Yeah,
Really?
and that's
Yeah.
what,
That's surprising.
speaking to,
Good.
Lonnie
There were new ones
about
in
it,
there.
you know, that's kind of what she had to say too, was that small dog park, same thing. They kind of took them by surprise. They had a lot of questions, but also they didn't realize, you know, oh, I can watch this, and based off that, I can tell when my dog is maybe about to get into something. So on both sides of the fence, I think that it was a good thing.
Yeah, I do too.
I know I can speak from the big dog park that people were asking a lot of questions. Yeah, I mean, Jared, you were there, you know,
I was at the little one too, and
okay,
they eventually got there.
yeah,
It took a while, but then I think there were, like you said, there were some like little fights or things that happened, and then all of a sudden everybody wanted to listen and ask the questions because
right,
they were embarrassed and wanted to get in, or whatever the reason was. But it's there was eventual engagement at the same level as the big dog park.
right. And it's not good that dogs are fighting at the dog park, but on the same, you know, on the same coin, it's like, okay, but then we have these prime examples while she's there to show why this is needed. You know, if you're just there, if she was just there and nothing was happening the whole time, well, then people are gonna say, we don't need this, our dogs are fine. But if all these, you know, fights are breaking out while she's there and she's correcting it and saying, oh, well, we could have avoided this by doing this, then I think, you know, so that's a good thing. But
She did that a lot.
yeah.
Good.
Good. Well,
Are you gonna
What do you
that
think?
more?
It was a success, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody happy, it was an opportunity to the owners have some conversation, yeah, it's perfect, it was perfect.
good. Yeah, so that was my next question. Do you think that we should do these
Again,
again? If so, how often? What, you know, is that something that, you know, obviously we should talk to Lonnie about first, if she's willing to do them on a regular basis, because that's, you know, obviously time out of her schedule and she's not getting paid for it, so. But assuming that she will, then how often? I mean, Sue, you're
Every
a
3 months.
trainer, how often do you think?
Is there a time that there's more of a flow of people going to dog parks? It's probably when the weather gets cooler, right?
Yeah.
So I would
definitely.
say definitely before the cooler weather
Okay,
would be appropriate, because that's when people start thinking more about the dog park.
okay,
And there could be an article written. It seems like I wrote one a long time ago for Florida on introducing your dog to a dog park and understanding body language
okay,
and how to break up a fight. You know, all those unforeseen things. A lot of people don't realize how to introduce their dog to a dog park, and it's not going through the gate. I
no,
tell them, you come and be outside the gate and just let your dog observe. Let
Yeah.
your dog just sit there and watch, then go back home.
yeah,
do it again. You'll be able to see if your dog is gonna be. Some dogs don't like it at all.
Yeah, whether
And
they're
you're-
being
and you're-
aggressive or reactive
Yeah.
or timid,
So, I mean, that's just,
so
it's a step thing.
definitely. Well, maybe we can pull that article that you wrote if you have
I'll
access
look
to it.
up.
Yeah,
So
and then we could republish it.
Maybe in the book.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
it's in the
there
book.
you go.
We'll check that, and then if it's in there, we could republish that one because it'd be so relevant to what just happened last
Mhm.
month with the course.
Read it through and make
So,
sure that it's
yeah,
three
definitely.
fifty, because I'm not sure exactly what I talked about. I might have mixed two things together,
Okay,
so you can split.
well, if it's in there, I'll scan it and just email it to everybody, and then
Okay.
everybody can read it before we get it out.
It's over there.
Yeah, cool. Gonna say, Melania did recommend, I don't know if this is something we can move forward with, but she did recommend for the entrance, speaking of introducing your dog to the park, when we come in to have that section of the gate like blocked, so the dogs can't see when they're entering. Okay.
Like put a screen on the bottom.
Yeah, like a half screen, like up to, our torso. She recommended that because the dogs are running over and getting excited when these new dogs are coming in.
Yeah.
And that's causing that like,
Oh, they're screening, not at the door, not at the gate screen.
yeah.
Okay. that
As you're
makes more
walking
sense. Yeah,
in, you've
that
got to go
makes
through
more
that double
sense.
grate.
Yeah.
And the dogs are rushing over there, they're barking at each other through the grate. And then we're opening the door, leash off, and then, those fights happen like the second the dog comes in because of that, because they're all worked up before they even get in.
On the
It's true.
big side, it's not that big of an issue. On the small side, it is when we walk by.
Yeah.
That, where the bushes are
Right.
and the door is, yeah,
But I was
Okay.
thinking if we did something chest high,
yeah,
that would block it for the dogs, but we would still be able to see when we're coming in.
yeah. That would work.
I don't know if that's something that we can do.
I'm saying at the entrance. So you're saying that
Yeah,
entrance is here, block
if
it.
you're walking
that
into the big
gate.
dog park, you can see the park to your left.
Yeah.
So we would put some blockage there
Okay.
and then into the second part, so the dogs could enter a little more calmly. We could look into that if we want. That was one of her main suggestions for that, might help with the introductions. And then, so kind of leading off of that, I guess, would be the articles then. So, when I took over for chair, Jill had said that you usually write them and then send them to her, and then she sends them to Danny. Do you still have you had mentioned once that you had like a bunch in like backlog ready to go.
Yeah, and I sent them, I thought I sent them to Dan.
Might have been. But for whatever reason,
A little action with
Thank
a
you for
little
getting me on
door.
parade.
for whatever reason, they weren't getting to,
For your-
the folks that do the publishing for it in the magazine. So we just want to, make sure that they're getting, I guess, to me first and then to Danny.
Yeah, let's,
Is that the way you want to do it?
yeah, let's, because it worked well when we had Jill as a chair, I had her send it to me once she read it. So
Okay.
I think that's how, it seemed like it worked better when we did that way, because when you send it just to me, if I didn't get it, then everyone assumes that I got it and I
Yeah.
didn't get it.
I think that's. what
We're having a lot of issues with emails. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I want the chair to see it first, and
Okay.
you want to do whatever you think is right with it.
Yeah.
You send it to me, and then I send it to Amber, who will be posting it on the magazines and wherever else we post it at.
Okay.
So yes.
So I'll make sure you have my personal email
Okay.
and we'll just do that. Yeah.
Just want to check your screen.
Okay.
Would be right.
You're saying one.
Can you send Ryan a link? Because he has to do it. Please.
Do we have an update from Brian or we need to wait for him to get on?
He is going online. I'm just asking Jose to send him a link. But
That's
let's,
maintenance and then chemicals as well, waiting on them.
well, I could do part maintenance. We are looking into purchasing 12 chairs to replace the ones in the large dog park and the small dog park. We did put it on the board's agenda.
Okay.
So they're gonna go through that the next meeting, which is, I believe, is next week. So we will recommend 12 chairs for the small. We're gonna mix it the small and the large. So we got brand new chairs and that's coming from the reserve. So
Okay, cool.
But you're leaving the metal benches, right?
yes, it's the wooden chairs.
Yeah, wooden chairs.
Those are on our
All
agenda.
part
for
there.
So
Yeah.
those will be
The
voted on.
metal
next
benches are
week.
fine.
Cool. You may not know the answer to this, but do we have any update on the estimate for the rocks? We're waiting from an estimate from a different company?
No, from Prince and Sons.
Yeah.
That's what Brian was telling us last meeting. It was from Prince and Sons. So because the Exquisite was the one that we got it before.
Yeah.
And Exquisite's not doing it. So
Okay.
Prince, and that's what I'm waiting to see. All right. So while we wait for Brian and if Prince and Sons show up, if they don't show up, just on record, they did say they were coming. Just want to put them on record. I wanted them to be here so that they can explain to you guys what chemicals they are using.
Yep.
And I know that I wanted them to explain to you guys if they don't have an alternative. If they didn't have an alternative, I was going to have us vote on what to do next, but that's what I'm waiting on.
Okay.
That was the whole purpose of this meeting, was to talk about the chemicals. Now,
Sure.
we can decide a different agenda if you want to talk about something that's on everyone's mind. We can talk about that.
I think that that's on everyone's mind, considering that the main chemical in question here is Roundup that they're using in the dog park, which would be a very bad thing to be using in a dog park. Certainly there are alternatives, whether they are willing to use the alternatives, I don't know, but there are alternatives for this. So I think that's just something that we need to wait for.
I think even two groups ago, we were told they weren't going to use them. We came up with all those chemicals which are in that book, and we were told that they were definitely not going to use anything that could be hazardous to humans or animals. You know, now, would they want their grandchildren to be rolling around the grass with that in it? I don't think so.
If it was 2 groups ago, that was a different
I was just
contract.
gonna ask, was that Prince and Sons or like Jared
No, it would have been a
saying,
different contract.
different contractor?
Okay, but I mean, as a body, we went through this once.
Yeah, well, that's good because you have the information to recommend what they should use.
Brian just got on. Hey, Brian, can you hear us?
You remember whereabouts in the book it was?
It's in there somewhere, I'm sure.
Brian,
I'm trying to pause
Can you
it.
hear us?
The chemicals, there's like 4 or 5 pages of the chemical, whatever, the motif or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You'll find it. And it's about the way forward.
Okay.
Brian,
Actually, let me try that. Let me try that.
So light in the park, I mean, see it? See it? Yes. Look at the sunset. And then the lines.
come on. Hey, Brian,
Any darker, any brighter.
There we go.
Yeah, it must be his computer. Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, Brian, you might not be able to hear us, or if you do, we can't hear you.
Oh, he can hear us.
Oh, we can't hear him.
Lights. Lights we got. These are okay lights.
They can't see the bottom. What happens? I mean, and I could see them. The first of the green.
Right, you hear me now?
Can you speak? Can you speak?
This meeting, I'm gonna have a small call.
Working a lot harder. Took another picture and there was no light. I mean, sky is bright, but no light down.
If they're. Actually, you don't.
Hey, Brian, I got, hey,
There you go. Awesome.
Yes, he has to leave the. He has to leave that.
okay, Brian, do me a favor. Close out or make out. I can hear you. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, I just muted. Okay. All right, Brian, I got you on speaker. Any up, can you hear me? Okay, all right. Any updates before they ask you any questions?
We got to the bottom of our filter, but we don't have any more right now. At least not good quality. It's doubled up what we have right now. And try and get us a new container for the filter over in the big dog park.
The dirt, that's be something the dirt, yeah.
What's the ETA on that? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's looking fantastic.
What's the, ETA on the proposal with Prince and Sons about the stones?
They unfortunately were not able to show up for this meeting as well.
Okay.
What's the delay? This is Jared, Brian. What's causing the delay? Because it's been like 2 months on the rocks.
So be a delay with the supplier and try and get the right pricing on that right now.
Okay. Can they update you by email that can be shared to the committee? That's fair.
Yeah, I will request that, no problem.
Brian, how aggressive are you in getting them to do their job?
I agree with that. I think he's pretty proactive on this stuff. Let's see what they say back in email on that.
Yeah,
Also, since you're gonna email them, I think there's another topic here that they have.
sure.
For the rocks.
The chemical.
Oh, it's the same company. Okay.
Yes, same company.
All right, yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm looking through the chemicals right now. We wanted to talk to them about the use of Roundup in the dog park. So we want to know if there's any alternatives to that.
Was hoping they would be here to speak on that.
Right.
From my understanding, there's other alternatives. However, the active ingredient is still the same. So that's kind of where we're at with that, which is also part of the reason why we keep the dog park closed after it is sprayed for as long as we do, just to ensure that the chemical is dried up by the time that we do go ahead and open up those gates for the residents to go ahead and use that.
I think they recommend 48 hours.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry, we just lost you, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, Paul, what was the question, sorry?
Yeah, I think that, the Roundup recommends 48 hours for it to be totally dry. I mean, don't hold me to that, but I think that's what I remember reading.
That's what I've read.
So I mean, if you gotta have it closed for 2 days, then we gotta close it for 2 days, but, remember, Brian, 2 committees ago, we addressed this and we were able to correct it. So if you can go back and look in your notes and all to see how that worked out. No, I was chairman at the time.
Newly.
That was newly. That was newly.
Yeah.
Taking care of the dog park at that time. So I'll reach out and I'll try to find out what that chemical was that
Okay.
they were utilizing.
We did request until further notice to
To
not,
not use it, yeah.
so how bad, I mean,
They did all of the trim.
Or keep the park closed for 48
Yeah.
hours. That's the only 2 alternatives you have.
We even know 49 hours worth.
Well, right here on the Roundup, safety page, it says right here. Domestic animals, keep livestock and pets out of treated areas. Do not graze livestock on treated areas. So, it doesn't say how long, it just says don't, so.
I think somewhere in there, if you read deep, you may find that it's sticking in my head for something.
That's what all this money from.
It says ingestion of this product or large amounts of freshly sprayed vegetation may result in temporary gastrointestinal and irritation, vomiting, diarrhea, yada, yada, et cetera. And if it continues to take the animal to a vet, but. So I mean, right on the safety page, it's saying don't use in livestock, so why would we use it in a dog park? That's my thing.
if
So
those rocks are
has it-
going up.
has it stopped since we have asked for it to be not used? You're saying
They
no.
just did it.
They just did it. Okay,
Yes.
so how do we go about getting them to not use it until we figure this out, since they did not show up today?
Brian, that's a question for you.
I'm okay with the dandelion to it.
If you guys want us to stop using it, here's the problem, right? We're gonna have weeds popping up, right?
Yeah.
And I can understand where you may say, it's okay, we'll deal with the weeds. The problem is these weeds, will carry, having weeds in the area kinda becomes an issue where we carry them from park to park. It's kind of like what we're dealing with right now with the nematodes. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that problem that we're dealing with. I know that the board members that are currently present are familiar with that word and that term and the issue that we're having with that. It actually gets scary park to park if we're not careful.
So how long is a reasonable amount of time to not use it? Because this shouldn't take another month to get an answer on what a clean alternative is. This should be like a week turnaround of, okay, we'll not use this, we'll use this instead, order it.
Huge price differential in changing chemicals.
I think we should get whatever that number is so that we can know what the reality is, though.
Not a problem.
Just because dogs getting ill or injured from this is gonna be a worse
Well,
issue.
that and the large rocks exposing eating up their paws and then they're stepping on
You saw
chemicals.
the picture
Yeah.
I sent to you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing we need is an open cut from the rocks, which we still don't have a proposal for.
Right.
And then them stepping on a ground that's saturated with Roundup.
Yes.
Now it's in the bloodstream.
Yes.
So that could be the two questions in the email. When are they gonna get the rocks? And when is the timeline for install? And what is a new proposed chemical? Can they send the safety sheet for that?
Sorry, what is the frequency of the spray? Is it weekly?
No, it's every 6 weeks.
Okay, so we should have more than enough time to get a turnaround
Yeah,
before the next.
Yeah, so if we're spraying once every 6 weeks and they just did it, the perimeter,
yes.
Then
did
we
that
should
2
have
weeks.
plenty of time to get this. So,
We
you know,
need-
I would call for a vote right now with the members here to put in a recommendation to stop the Roundup use immediately.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
I'll say.
Second,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, Brian, do you hear that? No Roundup for now. Yes, sir. No Roundup, they just voted, so no Roundup. So we can figure out another solution.
We have 6 weeks.
When they did it, it
Yeah,
was like
right.
2 weeks
Okay.
ago. so now
We got-
it's 4
That's still a month.
It's a month.
Yeah,
If they have something.
yeah.
We just need the safety sheets on the alternatives.
If we have a good alternative by then, and then, but we still have to do,
Well, we-
a round of roundup, and then you have to close the park for 2 days and that it only is once, then fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we need an alternative.
Other dog parks do in other communities.
Most of them do not have grass. People that come.
So when we had this discussion before, we talked about closing the dog park. We closed the dog park for 24 hours.
Sure. But
Um,
from my understanding, that was gonna be weekly. But if we're saying that we're doing the Roundup every 6 weeks, then I think that would be much more reasonable to the owners if we say, okay, every 6 weeks, we need to close for 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, I
Make
would
this
rather that have the safety.
On a weekly basis, that doesn't make sense, but if we're doing this on a more monthly basis or even further,
Yeah.
then 2 days, I think that would be very reasonable for the residents. I think most of them would probably agree with that.
Especially if you say it's because of chemical treatment.
Sure, yeah, we can put some things out saying, hey, this is for reason of chemicals, we want them to be in the ground.
I'd still like to know what the price difference is though.
Yeah, we definitely want to
We
get
can't-
that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
gotta wait.
Right.
So,
Okay.
The price difference is probably that the new one needs to be every 2 weeks versus this one being every
Maybe,
6 weeks.
yeah.
So
But if we can at least get the safety sheets, we can research the chemicals being used, the active ingredients, and go from there.
Well, we have them on the phone. Could I ask him some other things?
oh, yes, sir.
Ryan, we need a hard rake. Yeah, the one that we had, the handle detached and we can't get it and we just don't have it.
What?
Garden rake.
It's a garden rake. The hard one, not the soft one. And, I know this one is this is coming secondhand, okay? People are complaining about balls that are cut up by the tractors because the dogs are choking on them. They were wondering if they could possibly have 5-minute walkthrough to get the dogs, put them on the stones.
or they can pick up their balls that they brought into the park.
No, these are the park balls. There's,
Well, somebody brought them.
Yeah.
I usually
They
Throw
go
it in,
to
provide it,
the
learn to
morning
pure balls.
real early and I pick up all the balls and I throw them in a little bin.
Yeah.
And then I go home and then from.
Well, that's
like,
real nice.
8 o'clock
Yeah.
to 2
You're only one
o'clock,
person
like
now.
that.
again, I was told to present it. I'm presenting it.
Somehow, 400 balls get $2 every week.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not the top of my priority, Brian, but I was asked to bring it up, so I'm bringing it up.
Yeah,
Maybe it's knocking all the nematodes out of the mowers.
I wish it was that simple.
Dear, dear. Those things are sick. They're worse than termites.
Any other comments or questions for Brian?
I don't think so. Not for me.
Okay, all right, Brian, all right, thank you. Did you want to say anything else or inform the committee about anything else, maintenance wise?
Send this over to Prince and Sons and see how quick I get a response.
Yes, please, send it to everybody. CC me on it too, please.
Yeah, please.
Everybody. All right, if you need everyone's email, just let me know, okay? All right, thanks, Brian. Thank you. Bye. Right.
Maybe this would be a better question for.
So think about the future. If let's say they don't have alternative, they want to use Roundup, what is the guys' solution?
So my solution, and anybody else can chime in here, but my solution on that would be to get how often they do it. If it is every 4 weeks, then we do a little research on what the recommended wait time is. I think I also remember reading 48 hours. And then we close the dog park for 2 days while it does its thing, because also if you remember where we are in the summer, this ground is very dry and very hard. If they think a Roundup will seep into that ground in a couple hours, not a chance.
I think Paul's remembering right though, the 48
I think
days.
it's, yeah.
Because that was quite a few
If that's
years
what we're
ago
gonna
with
do.
the Roundup.
So if that's the case, then, just close it every 4 weeks for 2 days.
Yeah, because the humidity
weeks.
doesn't
Six
help
weeks.
it.
If they like, whatever it is, we don't really know. So, but if they're not doing it every week, then
Motion until they respond. That's the action. Hopefully they'll come back with an answer.
I,
We had, one member from the peanut gallery just sent me a little note. And, she's interested in where some of the rocks are, to put grass back. So I don't know when and how that would come up or who we talk to.
so are you talking about like the island in the big dog park?
The first island. Remember when you come in the middle gate?
Yeah.
Remember how it used to be an island there with grass all the way around it?
Yeah.
So when the dogs were running, they weren't running across the rocks.
Yes, but now it's rocks.
Now it's all rocks.
So
And that happened. the
I
time
asked
before
about
Brian.
this to Brian a
Okay.
couple meetings ago. The
Okay,
answer I got was that it would be a large amount of money because they would have to go through and irrigate and install the sprinklers in that area where they're not installed.
they're already there.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
that
don't know
was,
what he's talking about.
yeah,
They're
that was the
already-
response I got.
The rocks were put in within the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's because.
It was when they redid it.
Because the main guy and I went there and talked, and I said, this used to be all grass.
Yeah.
And I said, but we need more rock in this area. And I went back like 5 days later and it was all rock.
Yeah.
And I went, this is what we were talking about.
Yeah, I brought up the same thing because I remember that. I was
Remember
like,
how
there's
they
so
just
much
put rubber
rock in
in?
here now and
Yeah,
less grass. It's like, why are we taking up all this area just for?
and that's a lot of times why dogs are getting cut paws, is
Yeah.
because they're running like crazy across that rock
track.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if we don't have to install, I mean, then, was there any reason we couldn't do that?
no, the plumbing is all there, because if you go in the early morning, like I do.
Yeah.
You can see where the rocks are being sprayed by water,
Okay.
so.
I wish I knew the answer to that. I mean, that's just something if he that's what he told us, because I remember he did say the money, it's always the money thing.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, we could always vote
Yeah.
recommendations.
So
I mean, we could,
here's my thing about it though. I feel like personally, we should tackle one thing at a time and we should tackle the rocks themselves first. Then we can worry about what rocks we're actually removing and replacing with grass. Cause that's my priority, is to get those small rocks back.
Yeah,
It's, then we can stop
well,
having
they
these
made a
dogs.
mistake
cut.
when they went over to the small side and put small rocks in after 5 weeks of that argument.
Exactly. So,
But we didn't realize how many of our big dogs were gonna get hurt, and a lot of them have been hurt.
Yeah. big dogs too.
Yeah.
Not
big-
like, oh, it's a big dog, it's 50 pounds. No, like 130 pound dog.
Yeah.
Are getting their
Dog,
paws
yeah.
cut.
Can you mention that to Brian and just discuss it between yourselves?
Brian has seen some of my pictures and some of the stuff.
and the picture I received that you sent to Paul sent to me, I did send those pictures to Vicky, Brian, and Lauren. So,
From yesterday,
whatever I got from Paul today, that's what I sent.
Okay.
We'll discuss.
okay, I washed their paws before we took those pictures, so you could see it quite obviously.
And this-
Cuts are bad.
When did this happen? Yesterday, you said?
No, I noticed, Hero was limping. Remember you mentioned it to me? Hero was limping one day, and so I took a look at his paws, and his one paw had a cut all the way across it, where something had dug into him at the park, because when he went home, he was bleeding still.
It actually looks a lot worse in person than in pictures.
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
yeah, it just looks like, but when you're looking at it, it's like, ugh.
Is he still limping or no?
Oh, yeah, yeah, and I've got him in booties now, and he hates those booties.
Are you soaking it and everything?
Yeah, I am. Because he's got 5 cuts, they're all over in both paws.
Are you soaking in Epsom?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, so that's-
We've got like, my husband's like a little.
This be the time to
Okay.
bring up the lights. Or you want to bring them up later?
What about,
They're bad.
Yeah, they're kind of got really dim. Now, I was blaming it on the fact that we've had rain so many days and they are
That's
solar,
the lights.
but you can't see. I went there to see because I saw people send me that picture and that doesn't really tell you. Can't see your dogs at the bottom. And that wasn't the way it was when it was initially put in.
all right, so this
And
may
you
be
can make it
obvious, but does
lighter.
maintenance climb to the top of those things and clear off the actual solar panels? Because they need to
From
be
the
cleaned on a
top,
regular
yeah.
basis.
Show him that. Danny showed Taylor that.
Yeah, and like I said, Danny, initially I was blaming it on the fact that we didn't have sunlight for a couple of days. You know, maybe just have somebody look into it, that's all.
Okay.
Are they by trees?
No,
No,
right in the
that's
middle of
the
the water.
feature about it. The one that is completely covered by trees actually does go on at night.
Yeah, so they're completely flat on top with the solar panels. So I
Yeah,
would
but that
venture to
one
guess that.
square light is very bright.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't project. There's no
Okay.
return light imaging. And you look at the very, very back, you see a little tiny bright white light, and that's another lamp.
And
But it has been good. It has been.
That's what's confusing. When it
Okay.
first came in, it was fine.
I mean, that may not necessarily be like leaves on top of it, but even if it's like a thick amount of dirt, it's kind of like.
Yeah, definitely.
You know how, I mean, look at our cars after it rains and it's like a film,
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Oh, yes, they
The
have.
bulb is just gonna go
Something
bad,
to
that
make
it's an LED.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's fixable because it was not like, when they first put it in, it was fine.
Something mechanically wrong with it.
Remember, your park is right next to
When
a
was that picture
freeway.
taken?
Pardon?
When was that taken?
2 days ago, yesterday. Friday at six.
Yeah, Friday.
When did you start noticing?
Friday?
Clean the top of them and see if that fixes this or there.
In a couple of months, because we've been talking about.
Well,
it.
it's been at least 4 or 5 weeks.
So it's got nothing to do with the time change and the lack of
That's what
daylight.
I blamed that on everything. That's why I said, just let them look at it. It could be that, could be some kind of a thing they have to just fix.
Okay.
Well, thank you for sending me that, so I
Okay,
can see
a
that.
million years ago, I used to live right next to the, was it 395 or something like that, going into Washington DC. And then there was an article put out that said that there's a constant flow of dust falling on houses and corporations, stuff like that. And I realize now, even though those trees are there between 417 and us, we're still getting dust, especially when there's a lot of traffic. We're getting a dust, so that's a big possibility that
Yeah,
solar pattern.
if you have solar panels on your house, it.
Are getting dusty, because yeah,
Oh,
mine has to be, mine
I
has to be.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that's definitely could just be the issue.
They're constantly.
The cells on there are
spraying
very
them.
sensitive to being covered.
I got you.
So. But that could be a big possibility.
I
We
was-
never thought about it
Yeah.
again after that one article.
Yeah.
Never.
That's it. Easy fix.
Be my guess.
I apologize, we didn't have Prince and Sons here, but I think,
Could-
you just need to wait. Yes,
Would
ma'am.
they know to come in this room and not the boardroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Right, yeah, they were told, I had numerous meetings with them and we all agreed, were you okay with this date? Yes,
When he's surprised that they're not showing up, so.
and then I pointed
He
to
must have
everyone.
known.
Huh?
He must have known Brian.
I mean, he knew.
No, he was with us too, when they had meetings, I would go, hey, are you good with this?
But
date?
he also said they wouldn't be here, so.
Yeah, he just.
Yeah, he needed, so.
So, But yeah, they did not. Because I wouldn't have made an agenda if I
Yeah,
didn't think they were
definitely.
gonna come. So,
Well, if we can get the emails to everyone, once we get the alternatives and the information sheets on them, then hopefully we can decide on something through email.
yes. And if there's something we have to do live, then we can do emergency.
Sure, yeah.
We can do that too.
This is a very, very touchy subject because a lot of parks all around the country have been going through this. And it's like fighting City Hall. It really is. And they have even, there have been some parks that, from what I read, and now this is Google's, so take it for what it's worth, but they say that they get rid of the Roundup, but it's coming in with another name. Because this is the stuff that is successful for them, is the Roundup.
Yeah. So there's entire class action lawsuits
Right.
against this product. So,
Well, I personally have a problem with Roundup because it blew up one blew up my face and I ended up with leukemia. Now, I wasn't smart enough to get in a lawsuit, but that's what it was. So
it's not good stuff. So
No.
luckily we have the sheet here that's showing the active ingredients. So when they send us the alternatives, if it's the same active ingredient, then it's like you said, they're bringing it under a different name. and We won't allow that either. So. Because as much as they don't want to search for a safe alternative, I'm sure they also don't want dogs getting sick because they're spraying a chemical. That would be my thought. But other than that, yeah, meeting's cut a little short because they didn't show up. That is what it is.
Was there anything that you guys want to bring up? Maybe a topic for next meeting? Because we still got to vote for our next meeting.
Yeah.
you have a calendar.
I'm not saying.
Isn't the dog show soon? Like summer?
Oh, no, January.
Is it January? January, okay.
That's right.
So,
Pups, oh, no, pups and pies. No, I'm saying, no,
No, it's in
I'm sorry.
December.
Ours. I'm talking
I
about
gotcha.
pups and pies.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that one's,
gotcha.
No, I was talking about that one.
which one you talking about? But that
the
one,
AKC one?
Yeah,
That's in December.
for,
Yeah, that's in
15, 16,
December.
17.
for
something.
Right.
the,
Right.
Agility equipment.
agility equipment, yeah.
Mhm.
We're gonna see if we could try to get some of
Yeah,
that.
Melania knows about that.
That seems aggressive.
It's-
Oh, no, we're trying to ask about it. I thought you
Yeah.
been installed by then.
Oh,
no.
Melania had mentioned that they will sell that equipment that they
Right,
use.
right. No, I remember now.
Yeah, so that's, we wanna,
So, yeah.
but we're gonna have to kind of rely on her to get with us after that show to see if that's gonna be a possibility.
We have to get the dock diver too.
Okay,
Make sure she knows to be asking about that.
she does.
Okay.
And I just saw her downtown a couple days ago and I asked her again and she said, definitely I will.
Melania-
She's been emailing, she's hasn't been able to get a response, but she goes to that, so she's gonna,
now, is this used equipment?
it would be used in a way that it's been used for 3 days. Yeah.
Okay.
And they sell it at a huge discount because they don't want to take it with them to the next convention.
So
Boy,
basically.
you want to get on the list fast, whoever has their foot in the door, because there's gonna be people lining
Yeah.
up for that stuff.
We can go rough them up.
Yeah, we can, if we need to.
Go
We'll go down there, yeah.
He's got a gem, wall, get in the gem.
You know, we'll get in a little
Take your
easy.
big dogs and everything.
Yes,
okay?
exactly. Yeah. We're gonna need to borrow yours.
Be my guest.
All right, thanks. I'm gonna need Hero for a day.
Oh, God.
Take his booties off, though. That's not gonna be very
Yeah.
intimidating.
This is on 20th, you said?
He hates his booties.
So next meeting then, is January?
Yes, so we're not meeting in December, for obvious reasons. So January.
Look at his booties.
I'm good for the 16th.
January 16th. That's good.
16
16 works.
works for me.
For December.
January.
For January.
January, no December.
No meeting in December.
Yeah.
Booties.
Could be the 23rd, 23rd one?
Actually, yeah, I'm away. I'm away
He
then.
was so mad.
I'll be away.
16th, so 16th?
So 16, or what about,
No, 16th is good.
you go for the 16th?
Yeah.
Okay, it's in stone.
Or we gotta
I was
vote
trying to
for
put it right before the board meeting.
You want to
And I'm like,
start?
no,
What?
then I'm
it? So you
here.
want to try?
No, 16th is fine. 16th is fine.
You good?
Yep. I will
We're
make it.
flexible.
I'm good. 16th is good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Wait,
Started.
what date did you say?
You can start to
16.
vote for it if you want. 16th.
It's,
So
Only this
Saturday.
for adjournment.
no,
No,
January.
we gotta vote for the
Not December, January.
For the date.
Yeah. When?
I was listening to, 18th, because you can't do anything.
Oh, no, 18. Oh, no, don't worry, Buddy the Elf will be there on the 18th. Don't worry. Don't worry, Buddy the Elf will be, yeah, no, that's December. I'm good. I'm good. Yes, ma'am. So, the 16th, January, we're talking about. I want to do a vote on that one.
Yeah, so make a motion to go for our next meeting, January 16th, Tuesday.
Second.
All in favor? Perfect. And anything else for anybody?
Owner's comment?
Owner comment?
Good meeting.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Saying.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Good day.
Thank you, guys.
No, you didn't.